Joining me now is Garland Favorito. Here's a headline over at the National Pulse. Ding dong, Dominion's dead. U.S.-owned Liberty Vote acquires Dominion voting systems in historic deal. Are you about as confused as I am on this one? Because I sure am confused. So we called up Garland, who could maybe unconfuse us all. Garland, welcome back to the broadcast. Garland Favorito of voterga.org. Garland, what is this all about?
Brandon, thank you. I'm equally as confused as you, but we have I can share some insight that we might have.
Okay.
So first of all, there's different articles out there. One of the key things to know is that Scott Leyendecker is the founder of KnowInk, which is the poll book system, which tightly integrates with Dominion voting system. So that's a whole issue that we need to talk about. But I think the first question that I would want to know about this whole thing is, how much did Scott Leyendecker pay for Dominion? Dominion was a $50 million company that allegedly received $787 million from Fox News in a settlement in which they would have had to prove that they were injured, and they would have to prove that Fox News themselves were malicious in their programming, both of which would have been extreme hurdles. And even if that we're able to achieve that, that's only a $50 million company. So the question is, did Scott Leyendecker pay $1 billion for Dominion? Or did he get it for chump change because Dominion has so many security issues and foreign connections that it is no longer a viable product in our country?
Okay, so how does this help people like our buddy Mike Lindell, or Newsmax, or any of the rest of them?
Well, the good news is,
because aren't those folks still in litigation with this company?
I think Mike has said that, but the good news is that they claim that all of those lawsuits are going to be dropped if they have not already.
Who claimed that? Who's claiming that?
Well, we've heard, I don't know if it was officially a quote from Scott or if it was just reported by the news agencies that have talked to him. I think there was a couple that have actually talked with him briefly about that. But I know Mike said his lawsuit is still going on. I would suspect that they have to drop those lawsuits now.
So you've talked to Mike about this?
No, I have not talked about with him personally, but I heard he had announced the other day that his lawsuit is still going on for the moment.
Okay, I'm texting him right now. See if he answers and if he'll come on the broadcast about it. That's very interesting. Okay, so now there's something in this article, is there not, about election reform and paper ballots? What's going on? Is this new company going to get a new name and be involved in pushing paper ballots?
Well, the new name is Liberty Vote. And what he is saying is that he is going to be an advocate of hand-marked paper ballots, which by default he has no choice, because the president has already ordered the Election Assistance Commission to decertify all QR-coded vote tabulation systems, which includes the Dominion Democracy Suite 5.5 system that's installed in, I think, a couple of dozen states. So that's really not too surprising. He doesn't really have a choice. Dominion's and ES&S's days of QR code vote tabulation were ended by President Trump on March 25th when he signed that executive order, which commanded the Election Assistance Commission to decertify all such systems.
Okay. So at the end of the day, what do you think this all means? If you had to guess, it's kind of fluid, but if you had to guess, what do you think all this means? And by the way, what do you think he paid for it?
Well, right. That's the $64,000 question. I think he paid chump change for it because Dominion has no value anymore because of its foreign influence and foreign connections. not because of Mike Lindell or any Fox News or Newsmax or OAN, but because their system is extremely unsecure, which we have been talking about since January 7th when we did our press conference. And I think you had me on back then to talk about all the security flaws in the system. So I think that's something that we need to consider. Also, I'd like to know if is John Poulos being retained or contracted by the new company, the CEO of Dominion. Is he going to remain on staff, or is he going to go?
Oh, wow. Look at that headline Logan just found. Dominion quietly settled lawsuits against Giuliani and others ahead of its sale, but it's still suing Mike Lindell.
Yes, very interesting. So
does the article say why, Logan?
Will they settle this lawsuit?
He's looking.
Or are they just haven't gotten around to Mike yet? That's a very interesting question, and that's going to impact their future sales if they don't drop that lawsuit. But here's a couple other things to think about, Brandon, for your listeners. How are they going to decommission these systems? The Dominion system, as we've explained, never was legitimately certified because it stores encryption keys in clear plain text in the database based on expert witness testimony from a fellow Clay Parikh, as well as Ben Cotton. So they've testified in the DeKalb GLP versus Ravensburger case back here on September 30th, 2024, that there are massive security flaws in the system. So how are these all going to be corrected? Are they just going to be permanently decommissioned? Are they going to move to open source voting systems that are readily available for public inspection? And how are they going to get these systems recertified, if at all? Or are they just going to develop all new systems? And on top of all that, Brandon, how are they going to meet the federal critical infrastructure requirements with all the foreign ownership, the foreign programming, the foreign chipsets, the foreign manufacturing that they all do? How is that all going to play out? I don't know that it can. I think that Scott's going to have to start from scratch with an all-new voting system, but it leaves us with the thought that this system is much too insecure to be used for the 2026 elections.
Mike said, quote, you put down that I was very defiant and I will not back down, end quote, Lindell said. Quote, and just because there's some new owner, that he's going to come on and say, oh, Mike, if you drop this, will you be a good boy and not talk about the machines? It ain't happening, end quote. That's in the article on Yahoo. It's also picked up, I guess, by Insider. So there you go. Interesting. We'll see if we can get Mike on about this.
Yeah, that'd be great. And Brandon, one of the key things to think about, we started off the show with, was the fact that the no-ink poll books are integrated with the Dominion voting system. They're getting more and more integration. This is going to provide the ability eventually for a one-stop shop where you can get your poll book and your voting system to count the votes all at the same vendor. And that's going to create a major problem in that the voter registration and check-in is not compartmentalized from the vote system count. So the vendor, as you now know, No-Inks is moving more and more towards the online poll books, even on election day, which is unnecessary. So you could conceivably basically cast a fraudulent vote and then check off somebody as voting for that vote. And it really opens the door for a greater risk of rigging elections in the near future.
Voterga.org, voterga.org. All right. Thanks for unscrambling it for us. Appreciate it, Garland.
Anytime, Brandon.
Garland Favorito, checking in. We'll be right back.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app, and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
We live in uncertain times. In fact, we live at a time when our own governments all over the world are warning us that there could be big problems with our power grid. World War III seems to be right on the horizon. Let me ask you this. Do you have a satellite phone? Should communications go down with cell towers? Do you have a satellite phone to get a hold of that college student or your spouse who travels, whatever it might be, to get a hold of your senior adult parents? We have satellite phones at worldviewtalk.com, and you get the satellite phone for free when you sign up for their very reasonable payment programs for the service. Sign up for the service with a reasonable contract, get the satellite phone for free. Worldviewtalk.com. You'll also find they have, well, what I now have, which is a solar generator. Yeah, I have a gas generator, an LP propane generator, but what if that goes down? I want to back up to my backup. So I now have a solar generator as well. You'll find them at worldviewtalk.com. Check it out today, worldviewtalk.com.